Some of you may have heard of the Switz group, but here are more details on that. So we are a group present across 10 countries, stretching from Greece up to Australia, and we are across all value chains of the bakery industry. We are into teaching, so we have a learn vertical. We are into ingredients. We have a specialty egg business. We have frozen dough businesses. We make consumer products for the bakery industry, and we have retail chains. Our turnover last year was close to $500 million, $500 million. We have 4,500 people and spread out across the world, and we are growing at a good double-digit run rate. Our products that you may be able to see in the retail chain, and this is specifically for the business that we are in here in India, is frozen dough sheets. So samosa sheets, spring roll sheets, parathas, puff dough, kunafa, and phyllo sheets. That's the products that we offer for the market. Some of our partners, you can find our products across these chains. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. There are many more brands, many more logos that are not here, but these are only some of them. Thank you. Thanks. We are expecting one more panel member who should be joining us very soon. In the meantime, we are going to start off. So this session is about snacking. We are going to be talking a little bit beyond wafers and chips in this session. Snacking is not just a side dish. It is becoming a mainstream product. With sales of close to 170,000 crores every year in India, it is fairly a large market not to ignore, and growing at a CAGR of close to 10.5, 10.7%. So that's a huge market for us to address. Today we'll attempt to uncover some of these opportunities and offer solutions to partners here from the supermarket, from the retail industry, but also for our food service customers. We may not have all the answers to your questions today, but I'm hoping that the session today will help raise the better questions in your mind to explore going ahead. With that, I'm going to start with a question for my colleague here. Saurabh. Saurabh represents, he's the ED for Spencer's Retail. Saurabh, you have some figures for us for this industry.
Yes, good afternoon. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, Dhiren and my fellow panel members. Really a privilege to be a part of this forum and this panel today. I'm going to bombard the group with some numbers to get the forum started, and also for people to get a context of how large the industry is, the snacking industry is, and what all does it constitute. So the snacking industry in India is primarily classified into savory and sweet. The size of the savory snacking industry in India is approximately 75,000 crores in FY22, growing at a CAGR of 13% and slated to reach a size of 1,20,000 crores by FY26. The sweet industry is valued at around 59,000 crores. However, 90% of the sweet industry is unorganized through mithai shops, local shops, etc. So we'll not focus much about the sweet industry for today's forum. Coming back to the savory industry size, out of the 75,000 crores, almost 56% or 42,000 crores lies in the organized segment, which means it's branded, well-packed and labeled. Further, the organized industry is classified into three sub-segments consisting of Western snacks, which constitute and dominates with a 57% market share, ethnic bhujia, which constitutes 16%, and ethnic non-bhujia namkeens, which constitutes 27%. Just to give you all a perspective of what these three subcategories are, Western snacks consists of chips, extruders like corn-based snacks, puffs, rings, etc., and bridges, which includes nachos and kurkure. Ethnic bhujia is primarily the bhujia SKUs. And the most important traditional non-bhujia category, which is all your namkeens, local namkeens, dry samosas, kachoris, chaklis, murukkus, banana chips, etc. They constitute, they are growing at a faster, they are called the non-bhujia ethnic category, which is, by the way, growing faster than the rest of the business or industry at 16%. Now, while Western snacks dominate the entire market today, with a 57% mix that I said, led by chips and nachos, the traditional ethnic snacks is what is growing faster than the rest of the industry, which is led by new product launches, which not only appeal to the Indian taste palette, but also showcase aspects of quality and nutrition. This is supported by improved packaging and improved processes, which leads to additional increase in the shelf life of these products without altering the authentic flavor profile of these food items like bhakarwadi, bhel puri, dry samosas, aam panna, etc. So some of the trends that we have seen in our format at Spencer's, and our friends from Nielsen in the morning were talking about it, that the resurgence of regional brands, regional foods, and private labels is quite prevalent in this business. Almost 30% of our business comes from regional foods, brands like Mukhurochak and Prabhuji's, which is popular in the eastern side of the country. Private labels also form a part of a key consumer choice in this category, because consumers find great quality at much better value as compared to the branded counterparts. A lot of consumers are also moving towards large pack sizes where the cost per grammage reduces for them, and go for offers like buy one, get one, buy two, get one kind of offers, which we have seen in the value consciousness of the customers in India. The other interesting trend that we have seen is that consumers are trying to experiment a lot with multi-variety packs, which means that different flavors of the same SKU, they want to buy a multi-pack that comes as a combo for them. And that's how they get an introduction to that category and then start gravitating towards the larger packs. So this is a little bit about the size of the industry and how traditional snacks are taking over Western snacks, Dhiren. Over to you, back.
Yeah, and I think it was an article in today's Economic Times which said that Haldiram's and Bikaji together is twice the size of PepsiCo and Nestle put together.
Haldiram's is the largest business in this market at 12,000 crores.
So that's the opportunity in the traditional snacks.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving beyond as we said, beyond chips and wafers and other stuff. I'd like to go to Ashu from ITC. Ashu, we've seen that in terms of the frozen snacks, potato seems to prevail quite often. But you guys have gone beyond potato. 62% of still today's frozen snacks is potato, but the rest is the opportunity. How has that been for you?
That's a very interesting question. See, as he shared data on snacks, I think there's something also happening on hot snacks. We are a frozen food brand, but we call ourselves as the hot snack brand, because you've got to have us really hot. You either fry us or you deep fry, air fry, whatever. Some of the stuff we've done, we've entered a category which has been growing rapidly as a category. It's a small category, but has been dominated by potato, as you rightly said. So when we approached the category in 2019, which is about 4 years ago, we looked at it from different lenses. And we said that we've got potatoes as base, but can we look at what can we bring in variety for consumers? Because there's a certain fatigue that sets in. So in our portfolio today, if whatever the industry data may be, 70% of my snacks is non-potato. So they are either cheese-based, chicken-based, veggies-based, lentil-based. I have a falafel kebab, which is one of my top sellers in the veg kebab range, apart from the harabara and the beetroot kebabs that I sell. So from a variety standpoint and consumer approach standpoint, I think what we are seeing is consumers seeking variety, want to snack not only from a variety standpoint, but two other data points I thought I'll share. One is also from convenience. One interesting change we're seeing is that at one point, frying was the 1.0 on convenience. You took a snack out of the freezer, put it in the pan, it's done. But the 2.0 that's now happening across is air frying and microwave, right? And happy to share that 100% of my portfolio you can air fry, or you can tawa fry, or you can microwave. You don't need to deep fry it. Now, this is a change that's come from consumers, where we figured out that if I can go a step further and give them that option, that you have multiple cooking options beyond deep frying, I open and unlock in terms of, and the third is in terms of nutrition. Mr. Sodi in the morning made a very, very good point. He said, there are only three things that will work for any product that you, it's either taste, nutrition, and affordability. And I think taste, we seem to have ticked the box in terms of how we are growing. Nutrition is very important. And I think from the standpoint of whether it's protein, or it's calcium, or it's the fact that there's fiber, what are you offering the consumers? Be back of pack and front of pack must kind of match. It should add up. It shouldn't just be different data points at both the sides. And I think that's something we at ITC trying to do for the category. But it's extremely exciting in terms of what's happening in this space.
So does the decision maker who buys the product, does it look at the nutrition level, or does it look at the wow factor that it brings to the meal? How is the product used? How do you see it being used?
So one piece we are seeing is, as I said, the real moment of truth is it should taste great. And then if I know I don't have to deep fry it, it gives me an added layer of saying, this is slightly more healthier than what I was doing earlier. And at the end of the day, you tick taste, but if you can layer it with some elements of nutrition, whether it's in the way you cook the product or in terms of what it's made of, I think you have a whole package to offer. And I like to use this line and say that the freezer is the new pantry at home, okay? And I think that's what we are driving. Earlier, apna drawer kholte the and used to make your snack or something like that. You don't have to do that anymore. You want a meal, you want a snack, just open your freezer, it's all there. And none of them come with preservatives. Most of them. Because, I'm sorry I'm doing a hard sell, but I want to make this point because everyone comes and tells me frozen must be preservatives. Freezing is the natural form of preservation. And your grandmoms and your moms will know better than most of us that that's how you would keep most of your products, right? So none of the products come with any preservatives at all. Most of them, I can't talk for the industry.
Now always said, frozen is the new fresh. So
frozen is the new fresh. That's a lovely one there, yeah.
okay, let's go across to Nadia. Nadia is the CMO for Mio Amore, a chain of 400 outlets, fresh bakery outlets in the eastern part of India. So she's flown all the way from Calcutta to speak to us today.
Thank you.
Nadia, you listen to consumers very, very intently. What have you heard from them when they make decisions around snacking?
Firstly, thank you, Dhiren, for having me. Mio Amore is a brand, of course, that sits in West Bengal and the eastern part of India between Orissa and Calcutta. We're also the retail wing of the Switz Group, so it's a sister company of the same. But I bring a different lens. I do believe frozen is the new fresh also, but on an everyday basis, we serve at least, 350,000 customers on a daily basis for their snacking requirements. And I was talking to Dhiren earlier about this, that the demographic split plays an important role in how the consumer choice happens. So if you take the millennials and you take sort of the Gen Zs, for them novelty matters, their palate is a lot more diverse. And for that novelty, they're willing to stretch their wallet a lot more. So for us, our average price is about $30, so it's very affordable. But if you give them 35, if you say 35 and it makes them feel cool because it's a new product around the block, they will pay the price for that. And they will go from Mughalai to Mexican to Manchurian in like 3 days. Whereas if you take a more mature customer, he likes his comfort, she likes her comfort. She will come back for the same product all the time, every day. So one of our great tools of how we understand customers is honestly not a Nielsen study. It's not some AI generative intelligence. It's really hardcore sitting and observing the customer in the store all the time. It's hard work. I mean, for 1 year, I was telling Dhiren this before I joined the business on the retail strategy side. I only spent 1 year traveling to bakeries across India, just sitting and watching how customers ate, how they made their decisions, what made them want to buy a product at that time, what was their decision-making pattern, and that is evolving a lot. I hope that answers some of your questions, Dhiren, but...
Of course. We will come back to your consumers. You specifically talked about millennials and Gen Zs, which constitute, what, 60% of your business? But we'll come back to that in a bit. Let me go across to, and stick to the theme of food service.
Right.
And go across to Ram. So Raman here was the president for Cafe Coffee Day for the food division. And he brings a lot of insights on how snacking plays a very important part in the menu aspect, in the menu construction for a cafe, but also in terms of profitability.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so my experience having worked with cafe chain, and it can apply for both coffee and tea, while the major product is a hot beverage, food, even though it is roughly 35% and the beverage is 65%, by and large for most chains, food and in food snacks is a huge play for the menu. Reason being, there is so much more you can do with food, and especially in the snacks. Snacks goes well with your beverages. Typically, nobody goes out for meals to the cafe, so the snack is the biggest play area. There are three big advantages of that. One is whenever there is, and that's the beauty of food because there's so many cuisines, shapes, sizes. So if you do a food launch, a festival, there is always a big noise that can be made out of for food, whereas it's difficult when you just launch a beverage. So a food festival definitely brings a brand recall. There is a footfalls increase, and there is at least for a shortfall, there is an incremental sales. Of course, if you serve them a good beverage product, then you get more customers down the line. The second is, of course, incremental sales. Snacks is a great way to upsell every time you buy a product. You can't sell somebody two coffees or 2 teas, but it's always, when somebody comes for cappuccino or tea, it's an easy sell for a snack because it's not going to be a fulfilling meal. And the third part is it's a great brand differentiator. I mean, there are a lot of coffees, a lot of teas, but then if you get known for a certain food product, be it a great snack, that's another big differentiator that you can have versus anybody else. So snacking, even though is a smaller part, but it's definitely a very critical part in any cafe menu.
So what do you keep in mind when you're designing a menu, a new menu? What are those elements that you keep in mind?
For designing snacks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So couple of critical things. One is how well it goes, like a pairing, how well it does go with a coffee. Or if there is a certain, in your menu list, if there is a product which goes well with a certain, whether it's a hot product, cold product, tea, you try to create a product and then try to sell it with that. And the other thing is you can also make great combos with it. Say if it's a small coffee, somebody can, if it's a 30 rupees, you can say plus 10 rupees with your coffee, you can get a product. So that's a great upsell. So you're pretty much getting 10 rupees or 15 rupees add-on sale to the same guy.
Give us an example of a good success that you had, one product.
So this was in the sweet category. We had these shots, mango shot and choco shot. It was 25 rupees, but with the coffee, it was just 10 rupees. And it was easy ultimately it comes down to how well the guy can sell at the till. It was easy sell for them. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to make anything. So it's also easy for them to upsell it. And so that was a huge success.
I think that's a big discussion by itself of sweet snacking versus the salty, the savory snacking. But we'll come to that. Thank you. Let's get into FMCG for a moment. we have Mithun here, who heads the FMCG business for Wow Momo. Mithun, it's been a year since you launched Momos in the retail packs. What has been your learning there?
Yeah, so it's been a year, but it's been a year of immense learning. Obviously, I have a background of foods and FMCG and lately frozen. So I would say, like what Ashu said, frozen is the new fresh. I would say frozen is better than fresh. You know, because the definition of
I'll take that.
yeah, and the definition of fresh is so all around the place. But frozen is frozen, minus 18 degree, and this is frozen. So I would rather go a step ahead and say that. While the last 1 year we discovered a lot of stuff. We had launched a product, some learnings rather. We had launched our range, looking at what the category is doing, and that was a big mistake. We didn't really deep dive into that particular product per se. Because momos are, very, very delicate products. And in minus 18 degree, and in India, the temperature abuse is immense across the chain. And obviously at the last mile, it is completely abused most often. So one of the things we did is look at what is happening in the industry and launch. But luckily, we did a pilot, very, very small pilot, and we got back to the drawing board and realized that packaging solution is one of the most important things to be done for this. And when we did that, we also got insights in terms of how do you solve a lot of consumer issues. And one of the issues one of the solutions which Ashu mentioned is about convenience and microwave friendly. We technically have launched, I think I can confidently say until Ashu says no, that we are the ones who have launched a real solution which is microwave friendly with slots within our trays where you can place the product and without any abuse. So we have done that, and that really turned around the whole game, because that particular learning helped in making this whole journey of frozen really more convenient to consumers. While we still say frozen is convenient, but it's not as convenient as a ready snack. So we did that, and with that and a great product, and we believe in doing only wow products, otherwise we'll not do anything. We do everything with a wow. And with that, we've seen that we've scaled really fast, and we've done things that some brands haven't done for last 3 to 4 years. We've done that very early just with a small category.
So we learn more from our failures than our successes. What has been that one learning that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think that the one which I mentioned to you about not really, measuring yourself to only competition and industry and giving out a solution. Most often brands do that. You measure yourself to, okay, there are large competitors who are doing this in the market, and hence this is the solution. You have an easy solution. I think that's not the right thing to do. We have to do our own category insights and all those tests before you really get into market.
We've been speaking on taste a little bit. Any product that you were surprised that didn't work well? Any filling,
Luckily for us, most of it in the FMCG space that we've launched, all of them are stars for us, which is unlike the case. We just have 8 SKUs now, but we have another 7 coming in, and all those 7 are going to be completely disruptive ones. Each of those 7 are disruptive ones, which is not only going to disrupt the frozen momo space in FMCG, but also the snacking space.
The concept of snacking is not just as simple. It's not about putting something on the plate and eating it. There's a lot of rituals sometimes around snacking. Do you observe that around momos as well?
Yeah, I have these examples from obviously big brands. Look at Kit Kat. Take a break, have a Kit Kat. Then you have Oreo, which says
Dunk it,
lick, dunk,
yeah, that's
and
a ritual.
Yeah, which is a ritual in itself, and that's extended into marketing. Then there are brands, international brands like Tim Tam out of Australia, which has this whole ritual of eating the product, and then that is actually a straw. It's actually a
Take the center
edible
out.
straw. You know, that ritual itself has created such a big impact, right? You know, and similarly, there's a Japanese brand called Pocky, which
Yeah.
again is, you know, again is similar format, but again
In
gives that
momos, do you see anything like
rituals.
that?
Yes, in momos, we are creating that rituals with sauces and different variations that we're giving. One of the rituals that I see is this whole extension of Japanese, this one of eating Oriental food with a chopsticks.
Chopsticks.
You know, which is very interesting. My son, who's a 6-year-old, he eats a plate of sushi, 8 of them, you know, with a chopstick, and
You need
I struggle.
those trainer ones first.
Yes, I
think.
struggle with that, you know, and that's a ritual I think we would bring about.
Thank you. Thank you. Sticking to retail, let's go across to Chintan from Maxon. So Maxon is a chain of retail shops, gourmet retail shops, very, very nice ones that we've been to often in Ahmedabad mostly. And so what has been your experience in terms of when you sell a lot of snacks? What has been the changes that you've seen at the retail front?
रिटेल में सबसे ज़्यादा 3-4 साल से ग्रोथ बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ है. इसके पर्टिकुलर 2 रीज़न हैं. एक तो सोशल मीडिया और दूसरा ट्रैवलिंग. जैसे सोशल मीडिया पे कुछ भी नए प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च हुए, सर ने अभी बोला कि जैपनीज प्रोडक्ट, अभी 3-4 साल से जैपनीज प्रोडक्ट का काफ़ी सारा ट्रेंड चल रहा है. और ट्रैवलिंग, तो ट्रैवलिंग में जितना आदमी घूमने लगा उतने बाहर जाके नई प्रोडक्ट ट्राई की, उसको अच्छी लगी. तो पर्टिकुलर ये 2 रीज़न सबसे ज़्यादा है ये इंडस्ट्री ग्रोथ करने में.
लेकिन अहमदाबाद सोचा जाए, हम लोग हमेशा सोचते हैं एक तो वेजिटेरियन मार्केट है, दूसरा बहुत वैल्यू कॉन्शियस मार्केट है प्राइसिंग के हिसाब से. आपको क्या लगता है, आपका एक्सपीरियंस?
नहीं, आप एकदम गलत सोच रहे हो. अहमदाबाद पर्टिकुलर वेज मार्केट नहीं है. हम नॉनवेज टनों में बेच रहे हैं, पर्टिकुलर गुजरात में. और कस्टमर को प्रोडक्ट चाहिए क्वालिटी वाइज, वो प्राइसिंग नहीं देखता है कि भाई ये प्राइस में मुझे ये प्रोडक्ट चाहिए. आप प्राइस कुछ भी लगा लो, पर उसको क्वालिटी अच्छी चाहिए प्रोडक्ट की.
वहाँ से शुरू होता है. हाँ, वो एवोल्यूशन दिख रहा है कि अभी नॉनवेज सिर्फ रेस्टोरेंट में जाके खाने से अब घरों में वापस आ रहा है.
हाँ, नहीं डेफिनेटली अभी घरों में, मतलब आई थिंक 14 साल पहले हमने एक स्टोर स्टार्ट किया था. अभी आई थिंक रिसेंटली हमारे 8 स्टोर में तो हमने फ्रेश बुचरी भी है, चिकन, मटन, सी फूड.
नॉनवेज से हम लोग just segueing into plant-based foods. So Sanjay Sethi, Plant-Based Food Association. Sanjay, what has been the importance of snacking for plant-based foods, or the other way around? How has plant-based food helped with snacking?
Yeah, as an industry, we started with a burger. So you can say that snacking is something that from where we started. So Beyond Burger is the first company which started about 10-15 years ago in the US, basically because of the health concerns. And we saw that all other doors in India also were closed. So this was the only door we opened, we entered. Once you enter, you capture everything. And that's why today you saw at the lunch, you had dal amritsari, right? So basically the cream has been removed. Last year this was dal makhani. So now those are cosmetics, little changes, like Parle said, okay, we had whey protein, now we'll have plant-based protein. But the core product is still the same. But what we were looking for, where we change the whole product. So already India has such yummy, tasty main food products. It was very difficult to replicate those. But to really replicate the whole of meat kebab with plant-based kebab, that's the innovation we did, and we are doing it successfully. If you go out down this aisle, you'll see CCL Greenbird, and you enjoy their kebab, unless you notice, oh, it is not really meat kebab. Yes, it's plant-based kebab, and the taste is same. So we replicated that. because we saw this revolution coming of snacking. Gone are the days when we were growing up, Amitabh Bachchan used to say, do vakti roti, ki naseeb nahi hoti. I said, what the hell, we are eating 3 times a day. Why is he saying do vakti roti? Because we were poor, so the Indians were starting to become more and more richer, and they were not only eating 3 meals. Now when I go to bed, I see my daughter is going to the kitchen for her another snacking moment. So that means we were already eating 5 meals a day, especially during COVID, because we had nothing else to do but to eat. And we were not eating all in one time, we were eating 5 times a day. So that is something now which has come, and we realize that snacking was growing. You say it is 10.5% the market is growing, but my gut says it must be growing even at a faster rate, because sometimes we don't take into consideration what is happening in the street food level, because our research sometimes does not pick it up. Nielsen is there in the room, was there on the lunch, and Nielsen team was telling me that whatever we do, any trend we talk about, plant-based comes up. So protein is a trend. Of course, fiber is also a trend. Reducing carbohydrates is also a trend. But protein is a trend that everybody is wanting to look at. And that's why we decided that we'll set up a protein cluster. Not 1, not 2. 12 protein clusters all over the India. The first one, which we are doing it in Bhiwadi, just outside of Delhi, because considering how much plant protein is needed and how much we are importing from US, the soybean and the consistent quality which is needed for our industry. And of course, we are also having other commodity, but the main is soybean. And unless we process pulses, soybean, peas, and extract all, the proteins from all those things, and that is going into the extrusion technology that is easily consumed by the snacking industry. And from snacking industry, now we are going with something like a dhabakari, where we are replacing the core of the meat and the core of dairy products, whether it is soy milk or any of those.
Wonderful. So, 2 takeaways. One is you said the innovation is the highest in snacking, and that's why plant-based foods found it easier to enter through the snacking route into the meals. And the second is the nutrition part, where protein as essential into the meal is introduced with plant-based meat. I think Ashu also said something like that earlier about mothers adding a little bit of seekh kebab into the meal just to add the protein into that thing. Ashu, you had an interesting point about supply chain. You took a very interesting route to the market. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of the challenges of the category is supply chain, and this is not the supply chain from factory to the warehouse to the distributor or even to the retailer. It is actually from the retailer to the consumer. And that unlock is critical for the real growth on frozen that we need to see. Part of that unlock is now happening through quick commerce and e-com. I think that category, because they are able to give you the product right at your doorstep within 10 minutes, the entire hygiene on the product is maintained and you get a much better experience. And I think that's changing dramatically. The other thing I think we'll need to do as an industry is go beyond that. And one of the things we tried as ITC was, how do we leverage ice cream carts in Delhi to get the product to the doorstep and also to get the product awareness going. So we tied up with Have More. They have about 500 carts in Delhi. And between November and March is when ice creams don't sell because of the weather. So what we went to them and said, give us the carts, we'll rebrand them as ITC MasterChef carts. We will leverage your network of distributors and people on the cart because they need to earn an income, and they can do it now between November and March. And we will take the carts into the neighborhoods. Wherever they were standing as ice cream carts, they stand there, but now they're selling ITC MasterChef frozen foods.
Very smart. Very smart.
Very, very interesting.
So we did that, and I think it turned out well in terms of consumers seeing that, and then we rebranded them and gave them back to them in March, so that we can do this cycle several times in a year. But like that, I think if the industry can come up with many more ideas, we'll get a lot of unlock in the...
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really innovative. To close the session, Nadia, can we come back to you? We're talking about the future. 60% of your consumers are millennials and Gen Zs, right? Tell us how you deal with their changing preferences.
How do we deal with their changing? Oh, God. This is, I was telling somebody today as well that, like to watch, if you take somebody at 5 years old and you take another person at 15 and you take another person at 20, probably the 5-year-old will have more choices and give you more options and tell you to take her or him to 5 different places. When I observe these customers in our stores, the youngest one, the tiniest one, will spend 5 to 10 extra minutes choosing the product because she wants to look everywhere and he wants to look everywhere. So when we bring in novelty into the system, we are constantly observing which product will be that bullseye that will hit, and you never know. So you have to keep stepping on the wheel and figure it out. You have to look at trends that are moving across the world. You have to look at things on the ground that are unique. You have to hybridize from local flavors to international flavors. You have to keep innovating all the time with a value for money proposition that is beyond the value of just price. But the truth is, honestly, Dhiren, is whilst we try and be novel, you also have to understand that that human taste bud is it's very simple. They just like tasty food. Don't bring me a chili chocolate just because it's for the sake of novelty. They like a Cadbury's Dairy Milk. Create something that is nostalgic. I tell people this all the time. If we're innovating, the greatest flavor in the world is nostalgia. Keep real to the nostalgia. Chocolate, in our portfolio, no matter how much we try, 70% of the sale happens in the chocolate segment. And I keep saying, and I'm a chocolatier myself. So if you look into the shelves of grocery markets even now, you'll see a huge variety of candy, but you'll see now the chocolate shelf growing even more. So people like that familiarity. So stay familiar, but add novelty only in areas that can be, it doesn't have to only be in the product. It can be also in the experience. It can be also in how you make them feel. So that's how we stay attuned towards growing and still keep it real, at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so innovative all the time. Ram was saying the same thing earlier. He's saying the key to menu planning was KISS. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. He would tell you, drinking chai in the morning growing up was dunking Mari biscuit and eating it with your chai or pouring it as South Indians in a saucer and slurring it. Nothing has changed so much. We're just doing it with Americanos now, and we're doing it with different versions of cappuccinos, but we still love the ritual, we still love the habit, there is novelty in it. So it's really listening that keeps you creating novelty in different ways. Look at what he's done with the ice cream carts. That's novel, but it's the same thing.
Let's learn about that offline.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the panel. Wonderful ideas, wonderful thoughts, and I'm sure the audience has taken away more questions from here onwards.